raise your hand if you picked, what's his name? Alex Vanderswan as the next person who would be criminally charged in the Robert Mueller special counsel investigation bingo game. Did you have a square marked Alex Vanderswan? Alex Vanderswan. Alex Vanderswan? Alex Vanderswan. Alex Vanderswan was really not on anybody's bingo card. Alex Vanderswan, who nobody had ever heard of before today.
Alex Vanderswan. He came, he saw, he checked out his hair.
By the way, what a nice picture that is. Look at that. I'd love to watch that guy speak. Oh, boy. Let's see. I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. We're hanging in.
It's amazing. That's our president. How did this happen? How did this happen? All right. But he turned insults about his golden mane into a golden moment. And you know, it's hard to rip him on his locks when he's just better at it than you are. So on Friday at CPAC, President Trump touched on pretty much everything, talking like your rich uncle who simply doesn't give two or three. You be the judge of how many he doesn't give. My favorite part, when he explained plainly why people do lousy in midterm elections.
What happens is you fight so hard to win the presidency. You fight, fight, fight. And now only 2 years, that's a very short period. And by the time you start campaigning, it's a year. And now you got to go and fight again. But you just won. So nobody has that same drive that they had. So you end up not doing that well because the other side is going, they're crazed. And by the way, they're crazed anyway, these people. They are really crazed.
Try to remember, has anyone ever done that before? It's the best election advice I've ever heard. And of course, any Trump speech wouldn't be complete without an honest self-assessment.
My administration, I think, has had the most successful first year in the history of the presidency. I really believe that. I really
believe it. You know, always point to a guy in the audience after you make a good point. People love it. About as much as they love digs at the media and, of course, you know who.
We have a very crooked media. We had a crooked candidate, too, by the way. But we have a very, very crooked media.
All right. And just to make sure no one felt left out, Trump made sure to call out walking driftwood sculpture, John Kerry.
If somebody said death to America while I'm signing an agreement and I'm president, I immediately say, what's going on here, folks? I'm not signing. What's going on? They just kept going. Kerry may be the worst negotiator I've ever seen.
The worst. Everything's the worst. Or a disgrace. Finally, if there was any doubt about the border wall, he got right to the point.
Don't worry, you're getting the wall. Don't worry, okay? I heard some.
You know, if Donald Trump is Van Halen, then Build the Wall is his Hot for Teacher. But you got to ask yourself, why is this so entertaining and so refreshing? I mean, sure, it's totally populist, filled with red meat galore, with obvious go-to applause lines for a ready-made audience. But there's more to it than that. Trump's good at taking slings and arrows directed at him and then turning them into armor. And in a world where the left is heading straight into the humorless void of identity politics, where all jokes go to die, we have a guy charging in the opposite direction into the other world known as fun. He's also an historical first. I call it an entertainer-in-chief. He wanted two things in life: to host a TV show where he could talk about stuff, but also be president. At 71, he managed to combine both. No wonder he's having a ball. And that's my final point. He is having a ball. And maybe so should you. For now. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He is so tough, a bed of nails sleeps on him. Retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel and Fox News contributor Alan West. She is so bright, lighthouses call her for advice. The Federalist staff writer, Bree Payton. And there aren't enough tissues for all of her issues. National Review reporter, Kat Tim Fitzgerald. And here is an interesting fact. He doesn't own a ladder. Former bodyguard and my massive sidekick, Tyrus. Colonel West, what impressed you most about his CPAC speech? Any highlights for you?
Well, yeah, I think the most important thing, if you've ever read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, and he always talks about how you can use ridicule against your political opposition. And you're absolutely right. This guy, no matter what you throw at him, he takes it and turns it back against them. And they're completely frustrated, as if there's nothing that we can say or do that gets under this guy's skin. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at a person that understands entertainment, he is his best public relations firm, and I think he just had fun at CPAC. He went out there, he told his story.
Yes, he did have fun. But, you know, Bree, Colonel West makes a good point about, like, it's always the left that's kind of, like, able to insult. And finally we have, like, you know, Triumph the insult dog as president.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think my favorite, speaking of insults, I think my favorite part was when he called the Democrats out for hating freedom. And I think if there's anything we could learn from the past 8 years, it's that they do that. Or as soon as they get in power, I mean, right now in San Francisco, which is a super leftist commie city. I mean, I'm from California. I know how it is over there, right?
Right.
And they're going after a crisis pregnancy center because their website ends up on Google at times when they don't like.
Right.
Okay. So this is the kind of thing we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And he's calling them out for that. And, you know, I think if the shoe fits, wear it. It's obvious that Democrats want us all to be miserable, and he's just speaking the truth.
Yeah, he just doesn't care, Kat, about any. He even said before he did that snake poem that I know that you loved, that he says, I know people aren't going to like this, but I don't care if they don't like it. You know, I believe that he could be very sloppy when things he says, but if he's right on a big thing, we forgive him for kind of the sloppy language at times.
First of all, let me let you on a little inside joke. Greg said, know that I love because I don't love the poem. But I already know that he doesn't care what I think. So.
Yes. I painted you into a corner.
Right, absolutely. This was just a classic Trump to the base speech.
Right.
It had everything. It had the wall. He managed to throw in a crooked Hillary there, pretty much.
Yes,
that took some talent.
Yes.
Talking about immigration, talking about the economy, and then of course doing the thing where he stops and leans to the side and waits for people to clap for him.
Yeah.
Which I don't see. I did it and it didn't work for me. So
No.
I have to. Well, it did, but he's able to do it. Sometimes he just starts clapping for himself, too. I'm doing it right now, and it doesn't work for me either. So he's really good at getting applause, and that's one thing that I really envy about him, whether or not he has a bald spot.
Yes. You know, Tyrus, I bet he wishes he could do that every week. He seems to enjoy it, be his thing.
But he does do that every week.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that the super left and the CNN building has got to have a late night meetings. Like, what do we got? He cheats on his wife. He's a Russian spy. None of that works. He doesn't care. He eats at McDonald's and he doesn't care. Did he eat a baby? Can we see if he ate a baby? And he probably would say it was the best baby I ever had. And those of us who haven't had a baby should really try it.
I don't know what to make of that. I will say this. What you're talking about, the fact that he doesn't care, it makes it harder for comedians to even deal with him because it doesn't bother. It might have bothered him before.
You know, you've been in that. I've been in that relationship where she don't care anymore, and you try to say things to hurt her feelings, and she don't care. That hurt when you said that, like when she gets home and tell her you're always late, you're irresponsible, and she goes, mm-hmm. But I try to. Now it hurts me because it devalues my fight.
Works.
Yeah, see, yeah. You got to throw it back on her.
Well, he is the first entertainer in chief. It's an interesting thing, you know, that the ability to combine two life wishes into one thing is pretty amazing.
Well, the interesting thing is that, you know, you have normally had the typical Republican president or whatever that comes out and talks about all these policy things. The debt sucks. Yeah. Deficits suck. And everyone just sitting there like, I can't connect. I don't get it. But this guy, he brings people in because they find it funny. They find it engaging. And you know what? They're getting money in their pockets, too, on top of that. It's a win-win situation.
That's
and
true.
then you trot out someone like a Keith Ellison or Nancy Pelosi or all those CNN folks, and they're Debbie Downers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you see.
Yeah. All right. And that's an up point to tease. Still to come, we'll discuss the president's meeting with those affected by gun violence. And later, Nancy Pelosi's got some border wall alternatives. Plus, a CNN reporter confronts an elderly Trump supporter. It's a cornucopia of dumb ideas.